Oh, aces.
Hey-o.
And that's a pretty good turn. Quads forgiven.
Let's see if he can make any money with it.
Is that you?
Yeah.
What happened? Where'd the rest of the pot?
Queen nine of spades.
Not the tightest of plays if he chooses to enter this pot, but certainly not bad. His name's Jan Heitmann, not Jan Teitmann.
Under the gun +2 makes it 900. Andreas Klaufeld is folded, so actions on Chadi Marhej.
Rockets.
And he elects to call.
Interesting just call. Unless your table's putting the squeeze on constantly, you should really 3-bet to keep this pot from going multi-way.
Max Lomensky with suited connectors also makes the call from the hijack seat.
Marhej is super deep, so people are going to want to try to work their implied odds against him.
Tommy Nord calls out of the small blind with sixes. Will Molson gives up the big. We're going 4-way to the flop.
He's only going to win it 1 out of every 2 times, not optimal.
9-7-4, top pair for Heitmann, who was the pre-flop raiser. It's been checked to him.
It's a great spot from the C-bet. Sure, he has no issue with winning it here, letting this pot get bigger.
2,250.
This is a gross spot for Marhej, and he's basically just got to play for pot control now.
He calls.
Mansky's got middle pair.
And looks like he'll also call.
With a bet and a call in front of him, he really shouldn't be overcalling in that spot, especially for his stack size.
Tommy Nord gives up the sixes. So 3-way to the turn, which is another 9.
Jan's not really going to have a 9 here very often, so I wouldn't be at all surprised if he continued to continue.
.95% favorite to win the hand. And he bets 3,600.
Unfortunately for Marhej, he's still compelled to call here. Jan's usually likely to have an overpair here a decent percentage of the time, something like jacks or 10s.
Marhej does call. Lemansky will finally get out of the way. Heads up to the river. Marhej needing an ace, but it's a 7. Heitmann with a full house.
Jan full houseman. Obviously, he's got to make a value bet here.
Question is, how much? 18.5 in the middle, roughly. And Heitmann's bet is 5,400.
Knowing what the hands are, this is an excellent bet by Heitmann. I think Marhej is pretty much compelled to call. This bet's for less than a quarter of the pot, and there's so much money out there already.
He does call, and Heitmann shows the 9.
Marhej may be thinking, aces cracked again, but them's the breaks when you decide you want to flat with aces.
Celina wakes up with aces.
Celina!
Here comes the re-raise. 600 euros. Sam folds the big blind. Action back on Alireza.
Big hand again. A call.
No shock there. Dude likes to play.
Heads up to the flop. Top pair for Alireza. This could cost him. Celina is a 77% favorite with her overpair.
Alireza's caught just enough of a piece to get himself into some trouble.
Celina continues for 600.
I mean, he can't fold now. He called with 10 high before the flop. Now he's got top pair, and that's way better.
He calls. To the turn. Which is a 9. Alireza improves to trips. Now he is a 95% favorite.
Oh, no.
Celina slows down. Checks the action to Alireza, who checks behind. Jack of spades on the river. This is a straighty flushy paired board.
Now we know Celina is accident prone off the table. Looks like she is pretty prone to them on the felt as well.
Goes for value with her aces, 1,300 euros. Alireza counting out the call.
He's also allowed to raise.
All in.
And he raises everything he has. And Celina now has to start thinking about what hand she's actually beating.
What do you think I have?
Nothing.
Nothing? Do you have a 9?
2 9.
2 9s.
At least 2 9s.
You think I have nothing? So you want me to fold?
No different. If you fold, I win the pot. If you call, I win the pot.
Solid logic.
It's a tough decision.
Okay. You can choose. You lose more or no.
Usually the guys on the table are really nice to me. They don't raise me on the rivers. Where is he?
Oh, you want I check again or no? Huh?
Can you show me one?
If you call, I show both.
You're putting me into a tough decision. Real tough decision.
I think you are not going to call. Let me gather all.
She is getting better than 3 to 1.
Okay.
Celina calls and loses.
Somebody say something. This is awkward.
You don't believe me.
I don't believe you.
Yeah, I told you if you call, I win.
I know.
If you fold, I win.
Wow. Habernig decides to call from the button. Vardanega checks out of the big blind.
Yeah, I would probably raise here. It's like, get some money in. He's probably not going to fold, so get some money in while you're ahead with your 2 aces.
And it goes check, check, 10, 7, 9. Habernig with an open-ended straight draw.
Well, Habernig had a straight draw, which is a good semi-bluffing hand, but he also knows he only has 8 high. He did not want to get check raised and maybe miss out on seeing the turn card for free. That's why he checked behind. Vardanega finally going to unveil himself with these 2 aces and make a play to get some chips in the pot.
Vardanega bets 139,000. Habernig decides to call. Pot now 440,000. And the river's the jack of spades, and Vardanega slow played his aces so much, he lets Habernig get there, and Habernig now at the jack high straight.
Well, if Vardanega had played this hand correctly, he would have raised pre-flop. But I'm not sure Habernig would have folded. And then once he flopped an open and straight draw, he was never going to fold. So even though I think Vardanega should have played the aces differently, in hindsight, it's probably going to end up saving him chips because he's going to lose less.
Vardanega checks over to Habernig. Obviously, he's going to bet. And if you're Vardanega, I mean, is it an automatic call?
Unfortunately, yes, because you've under-repped your hand. You haven't played it like you have anything as big as 2 aces. So I expect Habernig to bet here with a 9, a jack, you know, basically any 2-pair hand, 10s and whatever else he might have. So he doesn't have to have the straight. He doesn't have to have the 8. He doesn't have to have the king-queen. He could just have any 2-pair hand and think it's the best hand. You know, and he has no idea Vardanega has a hand like 2 aces.
And of course, Habernig could be bluffing. We can see that he's not. He bets 350,000, and Vardanega is thinking about it. Give him credit.
I think he's thinking of making a raise.
Seriously?
I don't know why else he's counting his stack. Maybe he's curious how many he'll have left if he makes the call. But he's either thinking that or he's thinking of raising.
You can't raise here, can you?
It would be suicide if you do. You'd be turning 2 aces into a bluff.
I mean, you'd probably never get a better hand to fold.
No, I don't think you could. I mean, maybe Habernig would call with a jack.
Vardanega just calls. Habernig shows him the straight.
You're a lucky one. Lucky.
And Vardanega says, you're the lucky one. Well, I'm not sure if he's so lucky as the fact that he let him get there.
Aces for Hon Cheong. Just a call.
It's a little sneaky, but with stack sizes the way they are, it's an okay play.
Round to Paul-Francois Tedeschi, who's got ace-king in the big blind. And that's a 3-bet. He re-raises to 140K. A quick fold from Souza.
And even though we know Hon Cheong could get it in here as a huge favorite,
flatting is also okay.
He does just call. So heads up to the flop. Tedeschi, just 6% equity. But what a flop. Top pair and a flush draw for Tedeschi. Hon Cheong still ahead right now with aces.
But it's still a terrible flop for aces and no heart.
Tedeschi had the pre-flop betting lead. He continues here for 162,000.
And even though I said it's an awful flop for aces, he certainly can't fold yet.
Hon Cheong calls. 663,000 in the middle. The turn card, the deuce of spades. Hon Cheong now a 3-1 favorite.
Yeah, finally some good news for those aces. And I know it sounds like I'm rooting for Hon Cheong, but I'm pretty much just always rooting for aces to not get cracked.
Wow, Tedeschi shoves.
The sick part about this is I bet Tedeschi thinks he wants a call here. He definitely thinks he's winning.
Hon Cheong having a good think about this one. 60-second countdown begins for Hon Cheong.
You can see why this is such a tough decision. You're either going to be a decent but not 100% favorite, or totally dead.
Gone down the last 10. Because range is dead. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2.
He folds the best hand.
Paul Tedeschi has no idea how lucky he just got there.
Bill Given. Oh, aces.
Hey-o. Given should re-raise this to make sure Doyle doesn't come along for the ride since he's out of position.
No, he just calls.
When Tony's here, it's just
Brunson folds.
Also with a re-raise, Given could have maybe squeezed a couple more bucks out of Scott Seiver.
King ace 8. A set for Given.
Well, that's a pretty good flop.
He checks. Seiver checks. And that's a pretty good turn. Quads for Given.
Let's see if he can make any money with it.
Goes check, check to the river, which is the tray of spades.
All aboard to Value Town.
3.
Bet of 3,000. Seiver calls. Given shows.
Wait. Maybe I can beat this hand.
Is that you?
Yeah.
What happened? Where the rest of the pot?
Not much action.
Oh, well, what could he have? Oh, you checked all the way?
Well, yeah, I got...
No, he bet the end. And
you paid him off?
Yeah.
Sucker.